About a year ago, I got invited to perform at a salon in Brooklyn. The topic of the evening was mothers. Now, when I first sat down to write about mothers, two things immediately came to mind. The first was a BDSM club or party called Mother, and the second was my mother catching me fucking a banana peel. I'll start with the banana peel incident. My father was already dead, so I was older than 12, and my second older sister was still living at home, so I couldn't have been more than 14 or 15. I was in my room, and I had this Playboy. It was a special collector's edition, which meant it was all pictures and no articles. And in it, there was this girl, this one picture of a girl. That was my favorite. She had long red hair and was tied up in a ponytail, and she was sitting on a white couch with her legs up on an ottoman, kind of facing towards me, with her legs crossed at the ankle. And she had this little tuft of red hair between her legs. It wasn't lewd or anything. Anyway, I had this friend Tiffany, who was older than me, 16 I guess. She was really the best friend of my best friend's sister, and I was completely in love with her. I bring her up because she got me to watch some foreign movie. Maybe it was The Bicycle Thief or My Life as a Dog. I really don't remember. But in it, there's this kid. A little kid, and he's poor, and he has this slab of meat. Maybe he got sent to the butcher by his mother, or he stole it. But anyway, he has this idea, and I have no idea where he got it, because I would have never thought of it had I not seen him do it. He decides he's gonna fuck it, and he does. He brings it up into his bedroom, and he does right there on screen in front of Tiffany and me, and probably a couple other people, but I don't remember who was there. The point is, this was a complete revelation. I could fuck things and not just my fist. How I came up with a banana peel, I don't know exactly, but I suppose it was a process of eliminations. Apples, oranges are too sticky, Cheerios, that won't work, cream of mushroom soup, I look at everywhere. Banana, that's actually the inverse of what I'm looking for, but wait. Banana peel. A banana peel is perfect. It's moist and slippery on the inside, but it comes off in sections. I mean, when you peel a banana, it comes off in sections. And even if you don't peel all of it all the way off, you kind of peel a little bit back and you pull the banana out, you still have these sections and they won't stay together and they slip out. See, I took the banana up to my room and peeled it and ate it. Then I took the banana peel and reconstructed it as best I could. And I put it between the box spring and the mattress of my bed. That way I can kneel down and slip my cock in kind of like doggy style. It was beautiful, just the right height, and I could put the magazine with the redhead in front of me, and I could fuck it. Except that my dick kept popping out the side because the whole banana peel section thing was totally frustrating. Until I figured out that if I took a paper towel tube and put the banana peel inside that, and then put that between my mattress and my box spring, there was no popping out. And when I came, it all stayed together, and I could just throw the whole thing on the trash compactor when I was done. Okay, so I was in my room, on my knees, redhead in place, hands up on the mattress, humping away the banana peel paper towel tube contraption, and the door opens. To understand my mother, you have to know that she was a coal miner's daughter. Literally, she shat in an outhouse, lugged coal for heat, and every time the alarm went off at the mine, it could be her father, or her uncle, or her best friend's older brother trapped under a rock, blown up in an explosion, or run over by a coal cart. Coming home alive from work, eating, breathing, staying warm were the priorities of her day. Her grandparents had emigrated from Slovakia. Her parents lived through the Depression, the World Wars. I get that I get to complain. I get that I get to stand here on their shoulders with my foot in their face and contemplate my sexuality as it relates to my mother only because of the work that they did. But you know what? It's because of that work, in honor of that work. It's my duty to push on and do my part. I have to build a better world than the one that I was given, just the way my parents did for me and their parents did for them. So it's my obligation and my duty to call my mother a fucking cunt. She screamed, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God, what are you doing?" I scrambled off my knees and into the bed, grabbed the sheet to cover myself, and the magazine hit the floor. "What is that? What is that?" She went over and picked it up. "What is this?" What is this filth doing in my house? What is this trash doing in my house? She waved it in my face. I'm asking you a question, young man. What is this trash doing in my house? I just looked at her. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. Every ounce of energy, every part of me receded into a ball in my chest and my stomach. I felt sick. I was going to throw up. She started to pace. Not in my house. Not in my house, young man. Not in my house. Christy! Susie! Come in here, please. Oh, God. Girls, come to your brother's room now. Eventually, they peeked their heads into the room. Christy was probably 16 and Susie maybe 11 or 12. Christy had that blonde, feathered back Farrah Fawcett look. Susie's hair was straight, brown, and they were looking at me with this look of fear and concern that combined into this look that was like, if we could get you out of here, we would. But that wasn't an option. Come in, the girls. Come in the room. Come on, girls. Come in the room. Come on. They stepped in. I want you to see what your brother is doing. I want you to see what your brother is looking at. She held the magazine out for them to see and turned to me. Is this what you think of women? Is this what you think of your sisters? Is this what you think of me? Every once in a while, Tiffany and I would end up sleeping over at the Henderson's house on the same night. The girls were older, so they'd be out later. And when they got home, Tom and I would be asleep in his room. He'd be in his bed and I'd be on a cot. Tiffany would come into the room with the lights out. She would kneel at the edge of my cot and put her head down next to me. She'd ask me how I was doing. And then she'd just sit there, with her head resting on the bunk, looking at me. His fantastic blue eyes, wide, full of care. I could smell her hairspray. To this day, that hairnet smell is the smell of love and acceptance. My mother's question, is this what I think of women? I think what my mother didn't understand was I didn't have any thoughts about women. I had no view, no way of looking at women. I had reactions, I had erections. I had girls I liked to talk to, girls I liked the smell of. I thought some girls were jerks and some were bitches and some were really cruel. I mean, even my own sisters. I mean, I loved them to death, but sometimes I just couldn't stand them. What I thought, how I interpreted these reactions, was all still forming. I hadn't learned it yet. In fact, no one had taught it to me until now. My mother in that moment was giving me my meaning. Before that moment, I was just a kid with a Playboy, a banana peel, and some pretty good engineering chops. She was the one who was going to put it into context for me. She was going to give me the big picture, how I fit into the world. My mother wasn't all that bad. In fact, in many ways, she was a remarkable mother. Her husband died when she was 43. I'm older than that. She put her kids, 5 kids, through college. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know what it takes to do that. But back then, that day, the magazine wasn't filth. I was. The magazine wasn't trash. I was. And more importantly, this is what my mother thought of me. This was what women thought of me. And now this is what I thought of me. On the night of my junior prom, Tiffany called me. My mother was in Vermont at Christy's college graduation, and I was having a huge party. Tiffany was home from college, and she asked if she could come see me. Yeah, sure. This was perfect. My mom's away, and I'm having a party. She came over, and we ended up in my bed. This was a dream come true. And we were hugging and kissing and fondling and groping, and things were getting hot and heavy, and she whispers in my ear, "Make love to me." Those words, "Make love to me." God, I think I'm still chasing that moment. I said no. And all the times I'd been with women, girls really, up until that moment, making out, dry humping, hand jobs, blow jobs, maybe the couple of times I'd actually had sex, every time, the first thought after I came was, I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. She meant too much to me. So I was 30, married to Kate, a woman who's 11 years older than I am, though she'd prefer I not tell you that. Jake was 2, and I was at the end of my rope. See, my mother lost her battle with shame that day. She passed that demon on to me, and everything I'd managed to throw up to defend myself against that beast had failed. People-pleasing, caretaking, twisting myself into anything anybody wanted me to be was failing, and I was being filled with resentment and rage, and I was becoming my mother. I was losing that battle, but the one thing I knew I couldn't do, that I would not do, was pass that on to my son. I was not going to do that to him. So I knew I had to face it. I also knew that it had to be this way. I had to be like my mother. It was unavoidable. Her ways formed me. It's like a tree growing on a windy bluff. It has to grow sideways to survive. But how do I get out of this trap? The only thing that I could think to do was, with as much love and grace and respect, follow my instincts and my impulses, no matter where they went, no matter what anyone thought. But that meant facing my worst nightmare, hurting someone I loved. So I sat Kate down and I said, I have 3 choices. I can follow my instincts no matter where they go, no matter where they lead me, no matter what that means. But I don't know what that's going to mean for our marriage. I don't know what that's going to mean for our family. I don't know where it's going to go. Or I can do the whole monogamy, perfect family thing, and I can end up a fat, angry old man. Or I can put a bullet in my head. She was crying. She knew that our relationship, the one we thought we were going to have, was over. It could end up in divorce. It could end up with me dead. Or it could end up with who knows. But what she didn't do, she didn't get angry. She told me that she wanted me to do whatever I needed to do, and that one way or another, no matter what happened, she'd be there for me. Which brings me back to Mother, the BDSM club, or party. Mother, the party, was held in a place called Hellfire. And Hellfire was not a club. Hellfire was a dungeon. And Hellfire was not one of those fancy leather gyno chairs, padded cages kind of dungeons. It was stone and dirt and underground. Now, I don't need to go into many details, but the memory or image that came to my mind was of me in a dark room, on my knees, my pants pulled down, my cock in my hand, as a group of people are standing in the doorway watching me, as a woman in her 40s, dressed from head to toe in leather, is beating me with a frogger and ordering me to come. And I can take these 2 images, and I can overlay them like transparencies. I'm in my room. I'm on my knees. I'm in a place called Hellfire. People are in the doorway watching. My sisters are in the doorway watching as a woman in her 40s is beating me. But this time, she's ordering me to come.